What's up, everybody? It's KB. Again, the whole podcast is presented by our awesome partners over at Wasted Wedge, and a new age of golf has arrived. And if you are looking to be the talk and envy of your group and create memories with your friends and family, look no further than the lineup of Wasted Wedge products and merchandise. These Wasted Wedges are a blast to drink shots out of on and off the course. I want you to think your traditional shot ski that people were lugging around at your college parties and all over the place, and how difficult they were to store, how difficult they were to transport. Wasted Wedge is revolutionizing it. It's now a golf club. It's a wedge. It's compactable, can go right into the side pocket of a golf bag. You have extenders, and it's all plastic cups, so there's no hot glue. There's no glass that you actually have to use. They're the best in the game, and they're revolutionizing the way you're taking shots on and off the course. They're a blast, and you need to check them out. Go to wastedwedge.com. Check out all of the products that they have to offer, from the actual Wasted Wedges themselves to apparel that they have to the extenders and everything in between, to be the talk of your party, be the talk of your golf outing. And you can find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Be sure to follow them. Make sure you're letting them know that you're coming from the Getting the Whole podcast and Underground Sports Philadelphia. That's wastedwedge.com, and find them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge. Remember the name, wastedwedge.com.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, your #1 stop for all things in the world of golf. Watch and subscribe anywhere you get your favorite shows on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Google, and more. Just search Get in the Hole. Get in the Hole is the official golf pod of the Underground Sports Philadelphia family of podcasts. Now let's get right into the action. Here's your hosts, Steve McAvoy and Ben Pirro.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
So Viktor Hovland is our 2023 Tour champion. The medal playing looked like basically the equivalent of the Nikola Jokic like memes when he was a little kid. By the way, great hat, beautiful hat.
I'll have some details on how one of our listeners can potentially win a Bones Golf Club hat.
I'm actually wearing a similar hat from Titleist I recently just got.
Look at that.
Ripping that brand. But Titleist, everyone to sponsor the show. That'd be amazing. So anyhow, Viktor Hovland wins the tour title. We'll talk about that in a bit. A video, though, surfaced from golf.com, and I want to play this because this is probably one of my white whale guys. Okay. I want to just chat about this video of him and Dylan Dethier.
I feel like fans have gotten to know you pretty well over the last few years as you've been spending more and more time on their TV screens.
Not really. I think when you're playing golf, they just watch you play golf. The guy that I'm on TV, I don't think you can really get to know me just by watching me play. But I think if I were to have a podcast or something and I talk for 10 hours a week and you listen to every single hour, I think you would probably get a good idea of who I am as a person. But when I'm just playing golf on TV, I don't think people really get to know you.
Have you considered that the daily 2-hour Viktor podcast?
No, I was just making an example. I like listening to podcasts. I'm not the guy that would really listen to myself talk.
How would you describe?
He hates listening to himself talk. I hate listening to myself talk. I love getting to get people to know who I am.
That's how you know you're a good podcaster.
Exactly. If you hate the sound of your voice, you're perfect for podcasting. My grandpa used to always say, you have the face for radio. I'd say thanks, Grandpa. Appreciate it. So
look at you now. You got the face for the YouTube, baby.
I really don't. Ben does, and the biceps and the abs. I have none of that. As you'll see also by me halfway through this episode, I'll be eating tacos. So enjoy me scarfing down more food.
I have a burger upstairs that I brought home from our good pals over at the Double Eagle.
You should honestly be eating it during the show. I've been so okay with eating during episodes.
The Getting the Whole mukbang has become a staple.
We're gonna have to clip from the 2023 season all of the videos of me just eating food, and we'll tally them too. Because I've had smoothies, tacos, chicken, burritos, Chipotle. You think of it anyhow. I'm tangenting. Viktor Hovland, come on this show. You don't need a 2-hour daily podcast. Just come on here for an hour, shoot the shit with me and Ben and KB if you want to join us.
Hell, if he wants to do just 20-minute hits throughout the season next year.
Honestly, just give me a phone call at this point. Like, we'll take you in as the over-the-phone guy.
We've been Viktor Hovland stans on this podcast for years.
I fucking love this kid.
I fell in love with him with the lightning bolt pants. As you can see, I got the lightning bolt pendant here. And when we found his Spotify playlist, we were like, we can't not support this guy. We have been Viktor Hovland stans through and through. It's only right that he comes on the Getting the Whole podcast at some point.
And honestly, like at what better time than after back-to-back tremendous weeks where he has made, I think Kyle Porter's at $21.8 million in 8 days. That's like, I don't have the numbers for you, but like, do you remember when Miguel Cabrera signed his like mega deal in Detroit, and they were like, oh, like per pitch, he makes half of the median household income in Detroit.
That and Pujols when he signed his deal with the Angels, it was like
Viktor Hovland has made enough money in 8 days that he can step away from golf for a good 4 or 5 years. Because based on his Norwegian citizenship, I'm pretty sure he can just not pay any sort of taxes on it. Like, there's very minimal income taxes in Europe. So, Viktor, come on the show. Chat with us a little bit.
Yes.
Viktor
Hovland and, of course, Jeff McNeil.
I mean, honestly, I'll get anybody.
Those are two.
That
those are the two that are hashtag come on the pod.
And plus, also, I mean, like, hey, if we could play a 4-man scramble, actually, I have an idea. We should do. You know how foreplay does like beat us with any club in the bag.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to do a 2-on-2 4-ball. Me and Viktor versus Ben and McNeil. The caveat is that Viktor can only play driver off the tee is fine, but he cannot use any other club that's higher than a 9-iron or like higher than like a pitching wedge. Or you know what? Better than that. He can't use any higher than like a 5-wood or a hybrid and then a pitching wedge and so on. Because he can obviously go driver 330 and then hit a 9-iron like 10 feet. So let's go like irons only, 9 and down is all he can play. I get a full bag, Ben gets a full bag, McNeil gets a full bag. I don't know how even that would be, considering Ben and Jeff are both like, well, Ben's a scratch golfer, but then Jeff's, I think, has pretty scratch or like just about. So like it'd be a little bit more challenging, but like then again, the guy also won the tour championship at 27 under par. Like, let's not get a little ahead of ourselves on this. A Viking is your tour champion. Donald Trump wins his club championship for the umpteenth time. And we're chatting player of the year talk right here on the Getting the Whole podcast. Kyle Bennett, Steve McAvoy in for Ben Pirro as he travels back down to Florida to begin his trek on the Q School route. We're brought to you today and every day by our friends over at Wasted Wedge. A new era in golf is here. Get rid of the shot ski. It's old. It's outdated. Go to the Wasted Wedge. Same idea, but on a golf club. Your favorite item from the first hole to the 19th green, from the bar to the court to the field, whatever you want.
Bachelor parties,
gender reveal parties, man.
Everything.
Get on it. Get on it. WastedWedge.com, folks. Remember those guys. They will be in here for a long, long time.
Plus, you have a couple more days. We're recording this August 27th. You have until the end of August at checkout to use code SUMMER23 for free shipping on all orders from Wasted Wedge because it's National Golf Month.
Isn't it crazy how the summer's almost gone?
I hate it. Are you a summer guy?
No, I'm a fall guy.
Okay.
But I do prefer warmer weather to colder weather. Look, if I can find somewhere that is 70 degrees and breezy every single day and I can wear shorts and a hoodie, I'll be more than happy.
See, I
just can't do this like global warming thing anymore where it's like 95 for like 4 weeks.
I'm in the realm of give me like 78 to 85, like 85 being the peak, because I do like a nice little beach day. I like the sun on my skin at the beach. But in that range, nice little breeze, little less on the humidity. that's my perfect range, and I just love to let my body soak up the vitamin D, and that's how I know I'm a happy little clam.
I definitely need a breeze. I don't mind when it's hot. I just need it to be a little breezy. I think that's really the big key here at the end of the day. It's over though. With the summer going, I mean, like, it's the fact that we and I love doing this show because it starts off in the fall. Obviously, starts around late September, and we're gonna have a nice hiatus here on the show. Get a nice, well-deserved off week from me and Ben. But we're basically right back at it in a couple of weeks with the Fortnite Championship, and then
Fortnite get down, Tomato Town.
All right, too much in a 10-second span. Then, like, once you work your way to January, like, you're obviously in the dog days of winter. But then, like, all of a sudden, it's a quick 12 weeks. It's the middle of March. It's finally back to the golf grind to a degree. It's about like 55-ish here in New England, up in the Northeast. Then it's the summer, and it just keeps on rolling. But this is kind of like the unfortunate end because the summer is over. Labor Day weekend is around the corner. The Tour Championship rounds out the PGA Tour calendar. And yeah, of course, look, you're looking forward to the Ryder Cup. You're looking forward to a new season. You're looking forward to all those things. But I don't know. There's something about this that's kind of bittersweet, regardless of the fact that it is that way and the summer's kind of going. An incredible week to round the year out. Viktor Hovland wins the Tour final, 27 under par, dominates the field, finishes low net and low gross for the entire tournament, which is like amazing because typically that doesn't always happen. Xander Schauffele and Colin Morikawa come up just short. Keegan Bradley put up a great fight. Scotty Scheffler lost in another top 10. I think this is like Rory's 8th straight top 10 in the Tour Championship, like something like ridiculous. John Rahm, another great top 10. We'll talk about all three of them, plus Viktor Hovland, as we get to the Player of the Year discussion. And, of course, Jordan Spieth kind of just fell off the mountain, finished almost last.
Which Ben said
28.
Jordan Spieth could be a pretender.
And I said it was almost a guarantee he'd finish outside of the top 20. Neither one of us are buying Jordan Spieth at the current moment. And, again, we'll talk about this in a hot sec. But the win for Viktor Hovland marks 3 wins on the year, back-to-back victories at the BMW and at the Tour Championship. Again, made $21 million in a span of 8 days. The question now goes from, obviously, we know Viktor Hovland's elite. He's a top 5 golfer in the world. He's probably going to jump to the top 2 or top 3 in the world following this win. The question is, though, do the waters get a little murkier now that Viktor Hovland has won his 3rd event, won the apex of the season, which to some it really isn't considered the apex, but for Player of the Year, does the water get murkier? What do you think?
Now, when you presented this in the group chat, I was ignorant to the fact that the Player of the Year is encapsulated with the playoffs.
No.
I still...
It's also voted on by the PGA Tour. So, like, guys who have accumulated, I believe, over 12 starts get a vote. So we're talking about basically the mass of the PGA Tour involved in this. And it really isn't a popularity contest. It really does go based off of how the players view their overall ballot, which will probably have Viktor Hovland on it by year's end. So going off of the idea that our top 3 is John Rahm, Scotty Scheffler, and Viktor Hovland, does Hovland's win get him into the conversation at least?
I think it should make him a nominee. It's very funny because, with award season on the horizon and the prestigious media member that I happen to be in the lacrosse world, I do have a vote for the PLL end of year awards that I have to vote on this week. So I am in awards voting mode, brain. I think he's in the conversation as a nominee. Like you said, he's won 3 events, went absolutely nuclear in this playoff run, wins the Tour Championship at a huge margin. Not only just like personal score, but beats Xander Schauffele by 5 strokes. Like, that's impressive as all hell. And then the next closest person, Wyndham Clark, shout out to Mr. Hotel himself, minus 16. So, I mean, like, even the gap there is wild. I don't know if it puts him over the top to win Player of the Year, simply because of just like the stretch of like success and pure dominance that both Jon Rahm and Scottie Scheffler had this year, across the board, like through a full duration of the season. I think I think the real thing that I take away is, Scottie finishing tied for sixth. Like, I think that helps his case even more, in terms of, trying to differentiate between he and Jon Rahm, which you and Ben talked about a couple weeks ago. I think Viktor's in the conversation, but I don't know if he'll get the nod to win Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm really kind of in the headspace. I think Jon Rahm's going to win it, and I think solely the only reason because of that is, while Scottie Scheffler was by far the most consistent player on tour the entirety of the year, Jon Rahm does come out of the year with 4 wins, albeit they all kind of came between a span of January to April. He had one runner-up at the Mexican Open. He finished, I believe, third at the Phoenix Open. He had a decent end of the year, I guess you could say. Like, he didn't do anything like crazy. 50th at the PGA, top 20 at the Memorial, top 10 at the US Open, second at the Open. So all really good results. But the playoffs, 37, 31st, tied for 18th, not incredibly impressive for somebody of his acumen. Viktor Hovland, recency bias. I mean, obviously, you kind of give him the nod on that one. The last 2 weeks, he's been the best player in the world, both on approach and just overall tee to green. I think really what it comes down to is, how do you weigh the wins and how do you weigh the consistency? And then, of course, like, scoring average obviously matters here a ton. I mean, if you look at the strokes gained numbers, tee to green, Scottie Scheffler put up, only to Tiger Woods, the greatest strokes gained statistics ever.
Mm-hmm.
He gained, I don't know what the numbers are going to be following this week, but going into this week, he was gaining 2.7 strokes tee to green. He was gaining over 1 off the tee, almost 1.5 on approach. His putting game was not very strong, which is kind of the only real knock to him. Like, he lost, I think it was a half a stroke on the green for the year. Had he just shot like tour average, he would have probably had 4 wins, considering how well he did, and had a 6-month span where he finished top 12 in every single event, albeit there's 2 weeks in between wedged in. Let me find those exact ones. The Open
wedged
and
in
between the
Waka
Open
Waka
and the FedEx St. Jude, otherwise had top 12 finishes every single week dating back to the CJ Cup. And then actually, really, when you look at the numbers even deeper, aside from the Open and the FedEx St. Jude, he had finished better than 5th. And then 6th at the Tour Final since the Byron Nelson in May. He had a top 5 finish in every single event except for 3 in his last.
That's the
probably
Joe
11
Byron Nelson
events. So, like, absolutely like ridiculous numbers. However, I think at the end of the day, while Jon Rahm's strokes gained numbers were not as strong, he gained about 1.5 strokes. He finished 5th on tour. 4 wins and the Masters kind of outweighs everything. And so I give the nod to Jon Rahm. In terms of Hovland, I think he's certainly in the mix. The Memorial is a really big win for him. And then 2 playoff events against the top 50 and top 30 players in the world. You really can't stop at that. However, I just think the 4 wins overall, including a major, really kind of top solved it. So that's where I'm going with my pick. We'll see how things – why not? And who else makes the ballot too is to be seen. But in terms of those 3 guys, I think Jon Rahm is my pick as of right now. But you really can't deny how consistent Scottie Scheffler was throughout the entirety of the year. Like, it's kind of amazing. So
I have an idea.
Let's hear it.
With our awesome merch partners, phiapparel.co. Use code underground, 10% off. They're also doing an awesome Eagles promo through September 10th. It's on all their social media. They're giving away merch for showing off your new Kelly Green. So definitely go check that out. Plus, there's a new code that you can use through September 10th for 20% off all Eagles merch, which is incredible. But I'm thinking whoever wins Player of the Year, we should design Player of the Year
Kurt?
merch. But I'm also thinking of a Viktor Hovland shirt that popped in my brain that I will relay the concept to you when we finish recording, but I think it could be pretty cool regardless if he wins Player of the Year or not.
Do I get, sorry, not to like go off on a tangent here, but if I have a Kelly Green shirt that is Wheel of Fortune based and it says "fuck the Eagles" on it, do I also get a prize?
No, but you can get a Wheel of Fortune Eagle shirt at phiapparel.co that spells out, I believe, Howie Roseman's name. And it's pretty legit.
That's actually kind of funny. I'll give you that. Yeah, I mean, I think definitely giving props to whoever does win Player of the Year. I would love to honestly just create a Viktor Hovland like shirt in general, something that would be like really funny. We got to keep on chugging away on the merch ideas and just throw shit out like we're Barstool Sports and just see what sells. At some point, something's gonna stick between my Tom Kim Thomas the Dank Engine meme and our Tiger merch, which would honestly go hard in any regard. That rhymed. I would definitely be big on that. Let's talk some winners and losers at East Lake before we jump over to the actual full-on year discussion. Is there anybody this week who surprised you? Any guys who stood out, whether it be a good performance or a bad performance? I know for me, Jordan Spieth certainly sticks out as the top of the top amongst guys, but I want to get your take first.
Just scrolling through everything here. Not that it was disappointing, but it was like, damn, couldn't finish the job. Lucas Glover couldn't finish in the top 15, top 10. Still, what a ride he had, towards the end of the year. And impressive wise, I think just from a standpoint of he won towards the end of the year, and then he's not one of those typical guys that you hear about winning. Like Wyndham Clark to finish third is pretty fucking cool.
Sorry, I'm enjoying my taco. Shit. So 3 things remain. Jesus Christ, sorry. So Wyndham Clark, incredibly impressive because he got his first tour win at the Wells Fargo. Obviously won the U.S. Open, so pretty big deal on his end. And to come out really have a breakout season like he did this year, I think is astronomical for his stock going forward. And obviously you see it now, clinched a Ryder Cup spot as an auto queue right behind Scottie Scheffler. So already in pretty good elite company. You're going to see him a lot in a couple of weeks in Rome. A couple of guys who surprised me, honestly. I said it last week, Adam Schenk, who, by the way, has like the best golf last name you could think of, had probably only better than in baseball, Dick Pole. But like Adam Schenk had a great back half of the year, got him all the way up into the tour final, and was able to put up a top 10 performance ahead of guys like Keegan Bradley and Matt Fitzpatrick, coming all the way back from I think he only had 1 or 2 strokes on the aggregate, beat out Max Homa, Sepp Straka, Tyrrell Hatton. Like these are some big time names, even John Rahm for that matter. So to play as well as he did was incredibly impressive. Looking at the bottom of the board, I mean, Jordan Spieth again, just absolute travesty. Thought he had something going on when he was, I think, in the lead or like tied for the lead at Harbor Town earlier in the year. Just didn't amount to it. Snuck in basically by the white of his teeth when it comes to getting to the tour final. Corey Connors did not play particularly well, particularly today. Did not bring his best stuff. I'm actually really surprised with both the way Scottie Scheffler and Rory McIlroy finished, because we talked about it last week. They had a putter change at the beginning of the playoffs but typically you don't see guys try and shake things up. It's more of a postseason, after season kind of thing. Yet still both managed to finish top 10. Rory finished top 5, and had it not been, honestly, for aggregate scoring, probably would have been close to the low net score. So really good on Rory McIlroy as well as Scottie Scheffler for finishing 6th. Sam Burns putted really good this whole week. Patrick Cantlay, of course, put up the numbers that I expected. Wanted Xander to win. Came pretty damn close. I I had a bet on him for both low net and low gross separately. I lost that by a stroke, so I'm a little upset by that one. But again, a few names who I thought really stood out. Max Homa also didn't play his absolute best golf this week, and it showed despite a top 10 finish. He could have certainly done a lot better, in my opinion. Let's talk about this because I'm still laughing about it in my head before we go to break. So Donald Trump won his club championship, and he literally put on Twitter, "This is the head pros number. Give him a call if you dispute my final round 67 to win the event." Like,
that's right.
Oh God.
That's right, Steven.
Oh God.
I'm calling in. I infiltrated Kyle. He's a very fine gentleman, very fine indeed. I'm calling you from Georgia. I hope everybody saw that unbelievable, despicable mugshot that they put on the internet of me.
Shout out Fulton County.
But yes, I won my club championship. Fair. It was a fair win, fair deal. Very fine people working at my Bedminster club there. And I love when the LIV Tour comes there. They do a very fine job to LIV. They're great people. And they provide me with the best on-tap Diet Coke you will ever see in your life. And I just can't wait to get back there after this despicable display of my face on the internet. I'm back on X, Steven. I'm back on X. I'm posting on X. Go check out my website, Trump 2024. The Don is out.
Anymore? Shut up, Donnie. God damn it. It's a bad look from
I don't know. I don't know how that guy infiltrated my camera. No idea.
All I know is that I need a opinion from Delco Danny about his about Viktor Hovland's outfits. He said in his post-round interview, before we go to break here, he said, "Safe to say I'm getting guacamole at Chipotle now." Viktor Hovland, stay fucking golden, kid.
What a quote.
Stay golden. Kid's 26 years old. Oh, my God.
One of us.
Sorry, he's 25. He's my age. Jesus Christ. Oh,
that's
Viktor
incredible.
Hovland. Turns 26 in a couple weeks, so good for him. That's so freaking funny. I think so. Kyle Porter or somebody said, I hope the $18 million is enough to buy himself out of the Jay Lindenberg clothing contract. That guy needs to like wear Nike or like wear something a little bit more like classic. Under Armour needs another athlete. They gotta pair somebody up with Jordan or like. I feel like Viktor would like definitely go to some like indie like Western European brand that like only makes black clothes
with lightning bolts.
No, just like honestly, you know what? The merchandise shop for Van Halen should honestly make his clothes. Just give him all black. He'll wear leather pants on the course.
He would kind of be cool with Puma.
Puma's too loud.
Viktor can be loud, just like his Spotify playlist.
All right, loud in some ways, not loud in others. No, like I don't know, like Puma. I see a lot of like light textures. I immediately think of Ricky Fowler's all orange fit, but I know that's a product of him going to OK State. Then again, so did Viktor. I don't know though. I think like an all black, like a Nike would very much Tony Finau-esque, like modern Tony Finau. There's a lot of whites, a lot of blacks, a lot of grays, very neutral colors, calm, cool.
With a splash of Neapolitan when you forget your clothes.
Yeah, exactly. That was still terrible. Still awful. All right, we're taking a short break. On the other side, we'll chat a little bit more about the tour final. Not a lot more to get to as we approach the back end and the end of season 3 of the Get the Hole podcast, which is kind of amazing too. We'll chat a little bit about that and what it's been the last couple of years on this fun little ride. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere, folks. You're listening to the Get the Hole podcast right here from the underground. The fuck is up? We're back. Getting the Whole podcast. KB, Big Steve, Big Mac. I hate that name. I don't know why I said that. Jon Rahm said in an interview on Tuesday about the tour final, they asked him, how important is the tour championship to you winning this year? What is the money like? And he goes, honestly, like, it's never about the money. And like, where does the tour championship rank, in my opinion? Doesn't really rank very high. Like, the majors are more important. The players are more important. I don't really care much about this event in particular. I found that really interesting because when you look at how the tour final should be like perceived, it's obviously it's the pinnacle of the season. You have a playoff race and everything. But really, unlike the Korn Ferry Tour playoffs where you're fighting for more than just money, you're fighting for your rights to play on the PGA Tour, to continue on, to make a bigger name for yourself. These guys have made so much money. Like Viktor Hovland, again, made $21 million in 8 days. I feel like the $18 million prize at the Tour Championship doesn't really mean anything to a lot of these guys, and it's more so just the prominence of winning the tournament, I think, is the more important thing. Rahm also pointed out that like the media loves to tweet about how like, oh, so and so missed their putt and it cost them like $820,000. Like, no one's thinking about that when they're on the green trying to make a putt on the 72nd hole. What's your take on Rahm's point? Do you think there's a lot of brevity to it? Do you think we should look into possibly changing the playoff format or realigning the way we think about golf's final event of the year?
I think there's some aspect of what he's saying there to have a little switch up and make it, a little bit different. But I mean, I feel like we're on this crash course anyway with whatever ends up happening with this PGA, LIV, Saudi investment fund, merger, non-merger, whatever. I feel like no matter what, over the next couple of years, we're going to be in store for a lot of changes coming to professional golf. So it wouldn't shock me if there is some sort of switch up, not necessarily next year, but in the future. But I think he has, some solid points there. And Jon Rahm has always been vocal about what he wants to see from the game. So I think if Jon Rahm's voicing his opinion, it's something that is probably going to be put in front of the powers that be.
So I find it interesting because obviously we know with the merger that more money is going to be piling in and things are apt to change. Xander Schauffele had an interview also and said that he said, quote, "I can happily say I've been on both sides of things. Back when he won his rookie year in 2017, he didn't win the FedEx Cup, but he won the Tour Championship. That was before they had changed the rule where if you win the Tour Final, you also win the FedEx Cup because you accumulate the most points." He said, "I've never won the FedEx Cup, but I've won this event, and I was given a trophy, and I've won it, and was not. So I can't really comment on that just because I haven't thought of a way to make it better." He said, in speaking on the staggering start, he said he didn't even know how the tournament worked earlier in his pre-tournament press conference. All he just knew was the staggered like scoring like existed, but he didn't really know the numbers. Because I still believe that when I talk to some friends and people, they still feel like a little confused on how it all happens. I think it's supposed to be like our most important event all year. It kind of comes down to this moment, and like for people to be a little bit confused, it's still not a finished product to me in that sense. As Rahm said, he goes, "I don't think it's the best way we can come up with it. I think I've expressed my dislike towards the fact that you get to come ranked number one in the FedEx Cup. You could win every single tournament up until this one. You had a bad week, you finished 30th, and now you'll forever be known as the 30th in the FedEx Cup that year." He doesn't think that that's very fair. But when you're in fifth place, 5 under, you're 5 shots from the lead, but you're also 5 shots from 30th place. So that to me doesn't make much sense. If you ask me, I think we can come up with a better solution. I don't think when talking about how they should change, and they made the staggered scoring a couple of years ago, and they changed the things up to try and make it a little more interesting. I don't really know what the proper answer is, and I really cannot give you a affirmative idea. Like match play, I guess makes sense. Like you could do something similar, more like a bracket style. Dan Rappaport said that what they should do is make the first 2 days regular stroke play, and then the final 2 days have the top 16 go into a match play format, where it is that third round is groups of 4. So you have 4 groups of 4. Top 2 get in, play 9 on the final day, and then 18 to finish out the year. I think that's certainly a way you can go about it. It's a lot of golf at any given amount of time. Or also you do a Monday finish, which I think would be fun. You now make it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and that Monday is the final 2 guys. That's it, playing a match. But like, golf is so fascinating because it's very similar to what I always say about like how the MLB wild card used to be 1 game, as opposed to a football game is 1 game, a basketball game is 1 game for that like playoff spot. Baseball, you can't determine a baseball game in 1 game. You need multiple. I don't like golf. You have 1 shitty day, and all of a sudden, like, well, sorry, you're SOL. We see it all the time. We saw it with was it Russell Henley? I think it was a playoff, 1 bad hole. I think it was Patrick Cantlay and Russell Henley, if I'm mistaken. Cantlay found the water on the first hole, and Henley came up clutch and won the event. Or was that Lucas Glover? Actually, it was Glover. Yes, Lucas Glover made par. Cantlay found the water on hole 1. He made bogey to finish out, and that's the playoff in 1 hole. Like, I don't think it's fair when the culmination of everything comes to this one moment, and all of a sudden you're SOL because you have 1 bad round. The way I see it, you should be able to have these multiple rounds to make it up. So I would like to see actually a 5-day event. There's nothing following. There isn't anything going on really in the pro sports world after Sunday. Like, baseball is in its dying legs. No one's really watching it much anymore unless you're in the.
Oh, I am.
All right, well, I'm not.
I get to see Shohei tomorrow as we record this on Sunday.
That's gonna be a fun time. I've seen Shohei 3 times this year. It's been he's hit a home run in every game.
Nice.
Which is ridiculous. But like, to have a 5-day event and make it this big thing, and obviously the money is one thing, but I think we really have to change the culture around golf too. And yes, the majors are incredibly important. And should we make the tour final something bigger? Probably yes, because obviously, as Schauffele said, you culminate to this moment. But it's kind of like the idea of like the World Baseball Classic, right? You want to talk about a event that no one really cares about because it's only 12 years old, but the World Cup exists. So why does everyone care about that? Because it's 100 years old. Like, those things matter more to people. Does it matter more to the majors? Not really. I think what it should be, there has to be a shakeup, and I think there is a way to do it. I think we need more thoughts on it. We need more of a debate around it. But yeah, I honestly cannot give you a definitive.
This will be something fun for us to brainstorm for the off season.
I agree. Like, and again, I think a match play is probably the best route. But if there's another sort of system that you can go off of, then by all means, I would love to hear it. I'm always a fan of the alternate event style of golf. I know the Barracuda, I think it does Stableford scoring. It's a little bit different. It kind of encourages aggressive play and like pin hunting, which might be cool if you want to bring about attention to the final event of the year. But again, there's a lot of different things that
drop your thoughts in the YouTube comment section too.
Yes, please let us know. Let's chat about the season as a whole. Talked about it a little bit, Ben and I, on the show last week. Favorite memories from the season, best moments, worst moments. I mean, obviously, we can go on and on and on and on and on about how a random, like, middle of like a Tuesday morning merger just happened as I eat my taco.
Yeah, we had
a random merger just pops up out of nowhere from the guy who said he'd never, ever, 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 ever talk to Liv. Literally, he made it sound like he would rather come to seppuku in the forest.
Yeah.
Than do this. And he did it anyways. Nick Taylor won for Canada at the RBC Canadian Open. A major, huge putt. Ricky Fowler back in the winner's circle. John Rahm wins the Masters. Brooks Koepka gets all of Liv hyped up for the PGA. Wyndham's first win. I think like 8 guys at their first PGA Tour win. What were the moments that stood out for you this season?
Let's see. Number one has to be #RickyBoys. Like,
That was great.
From just being a fan of Ricky Fowler for as long as I have been, being like, you know, when he came on tour, the long-haired, fun, like, skater boy type of vibe. When you're growing up in that era, like, that's who you gravitate towards. He was like golf's Ryan Sheckler almost.
I love that.
And for him to put that together, finally get over the hump and get that win, you and I on the phone when it's happening, and it's like, we go nuts. We coined the term #RickyBoys. And obviously you and I won lots and lots of money.
Lots of money.
Responsibly.
Fueled the addition for a good 2 weeks.
Ricky Fowler, like, that was a moment. I'll never forget that day. That Sunday was like electric. The merger, obviously, and you know, the saga and chronicles that was for as long as it was. And Brooks, I mean, as wild as it is, like, Brooks Koepka, like, when you write the story of the 2023 PGA Tour season, you're going to have a live golfer be one of your main chapters, because Brooks went out and fucking dominated when his card was called, almost wins 2 majors, wins
Absolutely.
1. Like, those are like 3 major chapters for me, is Ricky Fowler, the merger, and Brooks Koepka.
I think, like, I mean, John Rahm's Masters win has to be up there to get his second major in that kind of fashion, and at a place like Augusta. Like, even Ben said, like, he cried, and he doesn't cry very often. So, like, that to me really stood out. A very underrated event that I think people aren't talking about, like, at all, and I said it last week, was Max Homa's win at the Farmers, because he literally played the last 6 holes up like 5 strokes and to play carefree golf, and literally almost threw the AirPod in and was like talking to the staff like while he was golfing. That whole last round was literally just, you followed him the whole way, didn't care about anybody else. You didn't watch a single shot, and it was the first time that I had ever seen that as somebody watching the PGA Tour, because typically this coverage is usually terrible. So to have something like that was really, really cool. Brooks was huge, because after watching Full Swing and watching the downfall of him, and seeing him at such a vulnerable state, being able to see him now victorious once more, and now on the precipice possibly of a captain's pick for the Ryder Cup, which I think is almost a home run play. And then, yeah, I think, I don't know if I would put Viktor Hovland's performance the last 2 weeks in there. However, I think the overall performances between Scheffler, Rahm, Hovland, Cantlay, and who else am I thinking of? And honestly, like Lucas Glover in the back half of the year, really do stand out as the top performers of the year. On top of course, Wyndham and Ricky, who both played tremendously well. So those are really what sticks out to me.
Oh, let's not forget Megacore.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, Brian Harman is the unsung hero of the PGA Tour season. That guy got so much shit for no reason at all. And I feel terrible for him, honestly.
From a media perspective, obviously you and I being the media personalities we are to an extent, I mean, this swing of the season got started about a year ago when one of the biggest names in golf journalism went to the pirate ship. Dan Rappaport going to Barstool is part of this PGA Tour season. Like, that happened almost a year ago as we record this.
That's crazy.
And that was like one of the big it was like, holy shit, like one of the biggest names in golf journalism is going to Barstool Sports and join the Foreplay crew, who do a phenomenal job with everything they do. But for Dan Rappaport to like be like, yeah, I'm gonna go and work for Barstool and change the golf, journalism viewpoint of things, that kickstarted, this PGA Tour season in a lot of ways.
actually, yeah, you know what? I thought that's actually a really strong, like, valid point. The exodus, I guess you could, like, basically the exodus, right, of one of the biggest personalities in the golf game, and like Foreplay, to give credit to a fellow brand, like of people supporting the golf space, no one's obviously doing it better than them. And whether it's the merch lines they run, or the guests that they have, or the fact that now they're a sponsor of TaylorMade, like we've noticed this year that the era of golf is shifting away from the golfer, but now to the influencer and the brand, and the idea that Foreplay is getting TaylorMade sponsors and getting Dustin Johnson and Rory McIlroy and Max Homa on their show. And then you have like Good, who, despite their turmoil of having some of their top athletes leave to go and try and pursue pro careers or get sponsored elsewhere, a Callaway sponsorship, like traveling across the country, they have guys in every single pro-am. Like, it's a really impressive feat, and I think it's really, really cool looking at it from a personal brand standpoint. And we're kind of diverting now into the idea of, like, as a personalized podcaster of my own, coming onto this 3 years ago in the midst of COVID, I had been a golfer since I was 11 years old. I used to go down to Florida, see my grandpa, and we used to go golf. And mostly because it was his old age. I was playing baseball. I needed to find a new outlet, got into golf, played it very liberally, like didn't really play at all. Usually like went to the driving range, if anything. It wasn't until after my grandpa had died that I was like really, really, really into the game of golf, and I was getting more and more into it. And once COVID came around, it was like I'm all in on it. Literally went to the golf store, bought new irons, bought a new driver, bought everything. That was my I'm in love with Bryson DeChambeau age. Partially
he's in love with the DeChambeau.
Partially regret that era of my life. Anyhow, like got all eclipsed in it come April of 2020, and then you guys obviously reached out in like October as the new season was rolling around. I remember Pat Pitts called me up and was like, "Yo, like, come to the show. You're a golf guy." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, I followed the golf game liberally. I was into it, but I was more into the idea of playing it. And then, of course, I just got more and more into it, and this show really has given me a lot. And to bring Ben back on has been huge. And again, we're reverting to concepts we talked about last week, but I think it's nice to have you in the seat and talk about it. To get Ben back on, and shout out to Jake, did a great job in his 3 to 4 month support here, giving us a lot of the law lingo that we needed for
crucial time for it.
Yeah, at a very tumultuous part of the PGA's history. So that was really great. But having Ben on and getting the chemistry back together has really been a delight, and I'm really looking forward to season 4. Much needed break, honestly. I'm spending all of next week looking at wedding venues. That'll be very fun for those of you.
Cheers to the boy.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know, I got engaged this past week, a couple weeks ago. Dude, prices for plates, man, ridiculous.
You are
$200 for a fucking venue, ridiculous.
You're the third underground employee to get engaged / married.
That's fucking crazy. So it's an odd idea. I'll tell you this much: if John was still with us, John's never getting married. I love John, but I see that man as a solo caballero for the rest of his life.
Hey, he's not alone. You're looking at one.
As Liverpool Football Club says, you'll never walk alone. Let's just put it that way.
Exactly. I have my whack pack, and you're all my whack pack.
Whack pack?
Shout out to Howard Stern.
By the way, I love that shirt. Where did you get that shirt?
Shout out to our awesome pals at Tomahawk Shades. Promo code USP for 25% off. It was when they did I don't know if they're available anymore, but it's when they did a collab with Chris Hogan when he became part owner of the company, and they did a documentary on Chris Hogan being undrafted. Bro,
oh my god. I think they only have like sunglasses now. I know they used to have like small batch stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're officially only with...
Hopefully working on in the next couple of weeks when DJ and I are on Long Island for the PLL semifinals. We're working to hit up Tomahawk HQ.
Let me know when you're pulling out, because I will join you guys all day long with that. So we'll chat. But yeah, no, the overall season's been amazing. Looking forward to season 4. Early on thoughts. Justin Thomas will not be in the Ryder Cup. We'll talk about that in 3 weeks. Max Homa might three-peat at the Fortnite because the field's kind of weak, or JT will win and he'll like prove the haters wrong, and then 4 weeks later he'll miss the cup for 3 straight weeks. We're gonna talk like way too early predictions in a couple of weeks when the 40 net does come around. But after seeing what I've seen this year, Scotty's going to win another major. John Rahm's going to win another major. I think Ricky's going to win his first major in however long. Still think Rory's going to lose. But a lot of backdoor top 5s because that's how he rolls. With that being said, I mean, I got nothing else to really chat about. It's been a hell of a year. Viktor Hovland caps it all off with a bang, and that's really it for me.
Shout out to you and Ben, and obviously Jake, too. This was the best season stretch of the Getting the Whole podcast in terms of downloads, listeners, YouTube views. Obviously, we've only been on YouTube for a little over a year now, but YouTube numbers, fantastic. This show got sponsored, which I know has always been a personal goal of yours since you've hopped on. And this show, I watch it with a hawk's eye because I know how successful it can be, because I went through it with a similar niche sport with outside the box and with lacrosse and the boom that happened there. And I know the boom with golf is exponentially bigger just because it's been around at the pro level longer.
Oh, yeah.
But with Ben back in the fold and how diligently and seriously Ben has now taken this show and makes it part of his routine, and I think the chemistry that you two share, even though you bounce off of each other with arguments and you can tell it's playful, which makes it that much better. Like I sit back and I look at all of our duos and trios on our network and how different yet how similar we all are, from myself and Matt to Matt and Dom to you and Ben, myself and DJ, myself, or Dylan, myself and Christian, Casey and Owen. Obviously, being siblings is a whole other relationship there.
Oh, yeah.
But we have some of the best teams on our fucking franchises at this company, and it's really fucking cool. And then you sprinkle in Pat Pitts and his insane brain into all of our shit, and it's unbelievable. It sounds like dear old dad, but super proud of you and Ben and obviously Jake for the early on portion of this season, for just the fucking grind you guys went on, the never ending storylines. You were on top of it always, and we know behind the scenes there's a lot of things that are hopefully capable for this show in the backyard here.
Oh, yeah.
That I think will be one of the tipping points for this show absolutely exploding. And I lay in bed every night and I'm just like, this show's gonna fucking pop. Just give it a little time, give it a little bit, and it's gonna pop. But the numbers are evident in and of themselves from this season. It was unreal. Like, it was so entertaining just following along, filling in here and there as well on the show and just listening to what happens. Like, I got 97% of my golf knowledge from this show. Filling in, listening, editing, like, that's where it came from. So if you're not listening and watching the Getting the Whole podcast, you're fucking missing out. Do it. This show is going to pop, and if you're one of the early OG listeners, it will be remembered by Steve and Ben, and you're going to be on a ride that these two are going to take to the fucking golf moon.
Not to mention, too, like, now Ben's getting more and more into content, and it's going to take a little bit, admittedly. As somebody, like, I had to explain to him the idea of, like making a stock yardages video. Like, I was like, just literally just hit your balls and just let the tripod run. Like you'll know how many shots you're hitting for each club. Like don't worry about it. I think once we get the concepts down, we're going to be really good. And the content for following a pro is going to be so awesome that you're going to want to really see it. But that's
something no other podcast has. Like
exactly.
There's no other golf podcast out there that has somebody who is grinding towards that pro level.
Exactly. And so like just a amazing outlook. With that said, admittedly, those tacos are destroying me right now. We have a giveaway, possibly.
Yes.
Can you end the recording whenever you want?
Sure thing.
All right. I have to go. Give us the outro, please, and let everybody know about this upcoming giveaway. I'm going to go. Love this season. Love you all. Never had to take a potty break during this show. This is the first time, and I'm very happy to report I am getting it out. All right, guys.
Yes.
Oh my God, that's hilarious. That's
we have a giveaway on the horizon with my awesome pal Michael J. And Bones Golf Club, his new golf brand. He's fallen in love with the sport of golf, and we've got some of these hats that I'm wearing. If you're not watching on YouTube, you should be. We got some of these awesome Bones Golf Club hats. The font is green, gold rope, white hat. You're going to want to follow us on social media. That is Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. Be sure you're following us there because we have a few of these hats that we're going to be giving away. We're going to spread the wealth around. Keep your eyes peeled in the coming weeks. There will be details on how you will win one of these hats potentially. And very excited. Shout out to Michael J. He's the GOAT. You know, if you watch our main show, he's the artist behind the ever-famous Rockets James Harden painting. We have other paintings in the studio of his as well. But he's taken up this new hobby of golf and wants to bring it to the moon. We want to bring Bones Golf Club to the people as well. So we're kind of on our influencer grind. So follow us on the socials at Get in the Hole Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. Subscribe. If you subscribe to the pod on YouTube, you will have instant top of the list privileges. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. Follow Steve and Ben on Twitter at Stephen McAvoy _ and at Piro _ Ben PIRRO. Subscribe to the podcast feed as well. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a 5-star rating and review. It goes a long way for helping the show continue to grow, helps more people find, again, the whole podcast and Underground Sports Philadelphia. So be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. And like I said, subscribe to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia, where we are currently sitting at 533 subscribers. Let's get those numbers up. We want to hit 600 sooner rather than later. So go subscribe, youtube.com/@undergroundsportsphiladelphia. I'm super proud of this podcast. These guys are the best in the business. They are the next big golf aficionados, big golf podcasters, and Ben's going to be the next big pro. Be sure to check out Wasted Wedge, wastedwedge.com. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Wasted Wedge, and use code SUMMER2020 or SUMMER23 through the end of August to get free shipping. Also, big thank you to Kenwood Beer for being an awesome partner all throughout the season for beer money. They're the best. Go to kenwoodbeer.com. Use the Kenny tracker. See who's got Kenny's on tap in the Philadelphia and Pittsburgh areas. Got to be 21 or older to do so. And, of course, please drink responsibly. I don't know if Steve's coming back on during the show, so I'm going to wrap it up here for the boys. Shout out to Ben. Shout out to Jake. And, of course, shout out to Stephen McAvoy, the engine that keeps this thing running. Ben is the nitrous to keep Steve fun. And it's always a blast hopping on here. So for Steve, for Ben, and obviously for this season for Jake, I'm KB. This has been another edition of the Get in the Hole podcast presented by Wasted Wedge. The boys will be back in a week or two, a well-deserved break. But until then, we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
Thanks for listening to Get in the Hole, the official golf podcast of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Catch us every week wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and be sure to like and subscribe on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at GetInTheWholePod, and follow Underground Sports Philadelphia at UndergroundPHI. We'll see you next time. And remember, get in the hole!